Hi, welcome to Food and Families. My name is Nala Hussein and I work in child development at the North Grove.
Hi, I'm Mary Ann and I also work at the North Grove.
Today we're going to make a dish called moussaka, which is a Mediterranean dish, and the heart of the dish is the eggplant. So I'm just going to first start by introducing the utensils that we're going to use today. We're going to be using a knife for dicing. I have a plastic knife. If you're doing this with your children, you want to be safe and use a plastic knife. I have a brush for brushing the vegetables with oil and a peeler for our potatoes and eggplant, a wooden spoon for stirring, and I have two spatulas, which we can also use this one for stirring, and we're going to be using the black one for removing the vegetables from the baking sheet. Now for our sauce, we're going to be using 1 tablespoon, and I also have half a teaspoon and another half teaspoon. And here I have a spoon for serving at the end. And we're going to be using cutting boards for cutting our vegetables. We also have this baking sheet that's already been lined with parchment paper for our vegetables, our eggplants, and for our vegetables. And we have the pot where we're going to mix everything together at the end. And we have this frying pan for frying our potatoes.
Okay, so some of the ingredients that we're going to use are green peppers, and these have been sliced to small kind of bite-sized pieces, and the same with the peeled potatoes. We also have garlic that has been minced. We have tomato sauce, tomato paste, regular salt and pepper. We have coriander, and we have kosher salt or sea salt to use, and also some vegetable oil. We're going to brush the eggplant and green pepper with some vegetable oil, and we also use vegetable oil for frying potatoes. And as Nala said, the heart of the recipe is the eggplant. So today we're using a nice big purple Italian eggplant.
Moussaka is a healthy dish that's actually a Mediterranean dish, and it has many versions. Some people like to cook it with meat, and some people like to put bechamel sauce on it, and sometimes both. Like in Greece, they put both the meat and the bechamel sauce, minced meat. Marianne, when she introduced it, the heart of the recipe is the eggplant, and it can just be done in many different ways. And today we're just doing the simple vegetarian one. There is no meat or bechamel sauce in this one. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start by preparing the eggplant. Now, I'm just going to start by cutting the top and the bottom. Just a little bit, not too much. And usually some people like the skin on and some people like the skin off, but I think that the skin is very healthy. It has so many vitamins and minerals that we can benefit in our bodies. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep half the skin on and half the skin off. And I'm going to start by peeling. Just keep some on and some off. And it's also sometimes children don't really like the skin, so it makes it easier for them to enjoy the eggplant. And if you decide to take all the skin off, that's absolutely fine. It can be a little bit tricky. And I'm just going to throw the skin in the compost. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to dice it in bite sizes. Some people, when they're layering it, they would do big rounds. But what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to do it in bite sizes so it's easier for the children to eat. And you need to watch for your fingers. Safety first. And I'm going to put it in the bowl. And when I'm done, I'm going to start to sprinkle it with salt. Okay, so what I'm going to use is it says kosher salt in the recipe, but you can use coarse sea salt or any kind of coarse salt that you have. And the reason we're doing this is to kind of help the eggplant bring out all the excess moisture. And then toss it around. Now I'm just going to keep it for about 3 to 5 minutes in that. And then I'm going to lay it out on paper towels so that we can absorb the excess moisture from the eggplant. So after we let it sit for about 5 minutes, we're going to just lay it all out on paper towels. And what that will do is absorb any excess moisture in the eggplant so that it cooks evenly in the oven.
So now we're ready to do the potatoes. I have heated my frying pan and I'm going to carefully pour the half cup of oil into it. And we'll give it a minute just to heat up as well. And I don't know about you, but I love potatoes. So when Nala introduced me to this dish, I was over the moon because it is very delicious. So we're going to just carefully add the potatoes. You don't want to just dump them in because the hot oil might splash you. And the trick with this is that you want to keep stirring because you don't want it to stick. So as long as you keep stirring the first few minutes, adjust your heat. If it starts splattering, you've probably got it on too high, as I do. And we're just going to keep stirring and stirring until the potatoes get to a nice golden color, which is approximately 5 minutes. So the potatoes have fried. It's taken a little over 5 minutes, probably about 7 or 8 minutes, but you can see that they're a nice golden color. And what I'm going to do is use a slotted spoon here to take them out and put them on the platter that is lined with paper towel so that they can drain off and the paper towel will absorb the excess oil.
So now that we've got the potatoes ready, it's time to get the rest of the vegetables ready. Now this looks pretty good. I can see that most of the excess moisture have come out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer it to this baking sheet, and I already have my oven preheated to 400, and I'm just going to pop them in there for about 10 to 15 minutes. Just make sure that they're not on top of each other so they all get an equal chance to cook through. Now that I have them all on the baking sheet, I'm going to start by putting the peppers too. They're going to both cook together in the oven. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by lightly brushing the vegetables so that they get nice and golden in the oven. Now, this might take a little bit of time because we cut them in small pieces, but if you were to do them in rounds, it would take you a lot less time. Now, if you're not sure that you got your oil on all the vegetables, it's absolutely fine to have a little bit of fun and just get your hands in there. And what you can do is just mix them around to make sure that they're evenly coated. That would be a good job for your child to do. They would really enjoy getting messy. It's always fun. All right, now I have all the oil on the vegetables. I'm going to put it in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes, and I would encourage us to check like halfway through to make sure they're cooking properly. This is the most important part of the recipe. We're going to start by making the sauce. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by putting about 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil in the pot, and then wait until it starts to heat up a bit. Okay, now that the oil has started to get a little bit hot, what I'm going to add first is our garlic. I have here 2 cloves of minced garlic, and I'm just going to add them to the oil. Now, you know that they're started to cook once you start to smell it. Garlic has a very strong smell, but it's just, I think it makes everything taste better. I'm just going to stir it around for a little bit. Don't let it get golden, because I feel like when it gets golden, it starts to taste a little bit different, so we want it fresh. And then I'm going to add almost 2 tablespoons of vinegar to the garlic. Now I'm going to add the sauce, the tomato sauce. Sauce is quite thick. So if you don't like your sauce to be quite thick, you can water it down with some water. I'm going to use the whole can because we have quite a bit of eggplants. Now to make the tomato sauce a little bit more richer, I'm going to add the tomato paste, and I'm going to use 1 tablespoon. You can use more, but I think the sauce is very thick and very vibrant in color, so I don't think we need more than that. It's really for the color more than the taste.
Could we just mention, Nala, that you can actually freeze your leftover tomato paste? And what I do is put, wax paper on a plate, and I just plop tablespoons of it on the plate and put it in my freezer for half an hour or so until they're nice hard cubes, and then stick it into a Ziploc container so you don't waste anything.
So what I'm going to do now is let it simmer for about 5 minutes on medium heat, checking to see if it's cooked. Okay, so right now I'm going to start by adding the spices to the sauce. I'm going to start by adding half a teaspoon of dried coriander. You can put more. It really depends on your preferences and the taste. And half a teaspoon of salt. Again, that depends on how salty you like your food. And half a teaspoon of ground black pepper. And I'm going to give it another stir. So the vegetables are done, and what I'm going to do now is I will start to transfer them to a plate. Delicious. Now, depending on your oven, it could differ in the timing that it takes in there to cook. I know that in my oven right now, it took a little bit more than 15 minutes, maybe 20 to 25 minutes, but at home, like 15 minutes does it for me, so it really is different. All right, and what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to transfer these vegetables to the sauce all at once. It doesn't matter which one you put in first. Eggplants and the peppers first, or the potatoes, doesn't matter. Just give them a stir. And now I'm going to add my potatoes. And give it another stir. Now this would be a great time to taste your sauce and see if you need to adjust the salt, because I feel that if the sauce was okay before, after you add the vegetables, it kind of maybe needs a little bit more salt. So I'm going to do that now. Can't wait to taste this. Yeah, so I'm just going to add another half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of salt. And give it another stir. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to lower my heat to medium and let it simmer for about 5 to 10 minutes. All right, so that took about 10 minutes. Now I'm just gonna check on my moussaka. Yeah, it looks perfect. Everything has cooked through, and that's what we want. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to start to put it on a plate. And as I said before, moussaka is very, very diverse. So some people serve it with bread and some people serve it with rice, just plain white rice. And I think both are great. It just depends on what you prefer. But today I'm just going to serve it with some pita bread.
This looks really yummy, Nala.
Thank you, Marianne. I know you enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching this. I really hope you enjoy this recipe, moussaka. It's very healthy. It has a lot of nutrients for the children. And eggplant is not very popular out there, but it's really nice for children to try. I really hope you enjoy it. Thank you.